Hello, everyone. Thank you guys for joining me today for another episode of Build a Better Business in 5 minutes or less. As always, I am your host, Jim Coppinger with ZenTech Consultants, and today we're going to be helping you guys get your businesses up and running in 5 minutes. I'm going to start my timer so I don't talk too long, which I tend to do. There we go. So today, what we're going to be talking about is the AEC world, architecture, engineering, and construction, and Microsoft Azure, and why those two need to go together, and why, if you're in the AEC design community, you really need to be working with Azure. Okay, so let's talk about Azure a little bit and why you need it and what it is. So the first thing is to understand what Azure is. It's an affordable cloud-based backup, server hosting, and disaster recovery system. And that's really just scratching the surface. It does a lot more. But in terms of the AEC community, those are the three primary tools that you guys are going to want to work with. So what do I mean by that? So you can build and host VMs, virtual machines, out in the cloud, fully secure, that will allow you to never have to purchase another server inside your own organization ever again. Okay? Those servers can be regularly backed up every 5 minutes and have a fully enabled disaster recovery plan. And with Azure, you're going to be able to do that for less than 30 to 40% of what you're paying today for lesser systems. Okay, so let's talk about what this does. So the first point, AEC firms spend far too much money for your on-prem servers and backups, and that's absolutely true. On average, right, system industry research shows that every AEC firm out there, you're spending on average of $9,000 a year, every year, for each server that you have running. That's time for updates, patches, setup, etc., and the actual cost of the server itself. That's minimum. Okay. For each one of those servers, you're spending an additional $5,000 to $8,000 a year just performing backups to tape and your hard drives and storing them off-site and etc. So it's a huge expense. Right? So if you're going to the company that has 4 or 5 servers, you're spending $60,000, $70,000 a year just like that. Right? With Azure, right, you can actually reduce that down at a price point of 30% of what you're paying now. Okay, so the other thing that you need to understand from the AEC perspective is that AEC firms rarely have reliable DR plans. Right? Disaster recovery for most AEC firms is, well, if the server crashes, we have backups and we can restore them. That's a backup plan. That's not a disaster recovery plan. Because the thing that particularly executives, they tend to leave that to the IT guys, and you executives who are watching this don't realize that what's going to happen when your systems go down is that you have a backup, but based on the amount of data that AEC firms generate, restoring that data to a point where you can get back to work can take anywhere from 2 to 10 days. Your entire company can be down for a week or more. How much money are you losing when that goes? That's not a good place to be. I've been there in some firms I've worked for in the past. It's not a happy week, let me tell you. So the other things that you guys need to be aware of, okay? When you're dealing with Azure, it is cloud-based. People worry about security. Recently, we just went through the whole wannabe and Petya ransomware that hit 200,000-300,000 systems across the world and completely crippled their servers. Azure and Microsoft cloud-based systems were completely immune to those because it's hosted by Microsoft. It's put together with a financially backed service level agreement for you, the end user, meaning that Microsoft has to pay for your downtime if anything happens. Those systems, the servers, everything that's hosted on Azure is completely patched on a regular basis. Every single day they're continuously patched, and it's not something you have to download, and it's not something you have to have your IT guys install. You can actually free all of that time that they spend doing all that server support. Let your IT guys do the job of helping your design staff and everybody else work better with the software that they have. So to sum it up, with Azure, you're going to get much better tools, far more secure tools, and you're going to save 70% of your annual costs. Every AEC firm needs to be on Azure. It's something I strongly recommend you do. And if you want to know more about Azure, please feel free to reach out to ZenTech Consultants, and we'll be happy to help you guys look at Azure, give you some quotes, do some calculations on what your savings would be, and give you a firm idea of how much cost you're looking at in order to run your entire system in an extremely secure cloud environment. So But look at that. I made my 5 minutes, and I'm going to go ahead and pause it, and I'm going to thank you guys for joining me today. All right, and as always, our contact information is up here on the screen. We're ZenTech Consultants, and we're here to help you guys with anything that you need on the Microsoft end. We're certified Microsoft Cloud Service Providers. Thank you guys, and I'll see you in the next episode. Have a great day.